विलास बिहारी राधे राधे। जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय राधे 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 श्री राधे। जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद गुरुदेव गुरुदेव। निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। नाम संकीर्तन की जय। जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल। कृष्ण कीर्तन गान नर्तन परो प्रेमामृतांबो निधे। धीरा धीरा जना प्रिय प्रिय करो मान्यो शरण्या करो। लोकानां हितकारिणो त्रिभुवने मान्यो शरण्या करो। राधा कृष्ण पदारविन्द भजना नन्देन मट्टालिकयो। वन्दे रूप सनातनो रघुयुगो श्रीजीवा गोपालको। नाना शास्त्र विचारनैक निपुणो साधर्म संस्थापको। लोकानां हितकारिणो त्रिभुवने मान्यो शरण्या करो। राधा कृष्ण पदारविन्द भजना नन्देन मट्टालिकौ। वन्दे रूप सनातनो रघुयुगो श्रीजीवा गोपालको। श्रीगौरंग गुणानुवर्णन विधौ श्रद्धा संवृद्यन्वितौ। तापोतापनिकृन्तनौ तनुभृता गोविन्द गानामृते। आनन्दाम्बुधिवर्धनैक निपुणौ कैवल्य निस्तारकौ। वन्दे रूप सनातनो रघुयुगो श्रीजीव गोपालकौ। त्यक्त्वा तूर्णमशेषमण्डलपति श्रेणीं सदातु च वात्। भूत्वा दीनगणेशकौ करुणया कौपीनाकन्ताश्रितौ। गोपी वावरसामृता बिलहरी कल्लोल मग्नौ मुहुर्। वन्दे रूप सनातनौ रघुयुगो श्रीजीवा गोपालकौ। पूजत् कोकिल हंस रसगणा कीर्णे मयूराकुले। नाना रत्न निबद्ध मूलवितपा श्रीयुक्तौ वृन्दावने। राधा कृष्ण महर्निशं प्रभजतौ जीवार्तधौ यौ मुधा। वन्दे रूपा सनातनौ रघुयुगौ श्रीजीवा गोपालकौ। संख्यापूर्वक नाम गान नटिभिः काला तावसा निकृतौ निद्राहार विहारका विविजितौ चात्यन्तदीनौ चयो राधा कृष्ण गुण स्मृतेर्मधुरिमा नन्देना मट्टा नन्देना सम्मोहितौ वन्दे रूपा सनातनौ रघुयुगौ श्रीजीव गोपालकौ राधा कुण्ड तटे कलिन्दतनया तीरे च वंशीवटे प्रेमोन्मादव सदसे शदशया ग्रस्तौ प्रमत्तौ सदा गायन्तौ च कदा हरे गुणवरं भावविभुक्तौ मुधा वन्दे रूप सनातनौ रघुयुगौ श्रीजीवा गोपालकौ हे राधे व्रज देविके च ललिते हे नन्दा सुनो पुटः श्रीगोवर्धन कल्पपादपतले कालिन्दी वाणिकुटः रोषन्तविति सर्वतो व्रजपुरे ते धैर्मः श्रीफलो वन्दे रूप सनातनौ रघुयुगौ श्रीजीवा गोपालकौ 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 Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams to all the devotees. Thank you all for joining in for the Nectar of Devotion session. We also have our speaker ready and to take on our session today. Welcome Abhinav Gauranga Prabhu for today's session. So Prabhu will be completing and summarizing the chapter for us today. Over to you, Prabhu. Thank you very much for giving us your association this morning. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you.
Mataji, Prabhuji, kindly excuse me for a minute.
Yeah, sure,
Mataji, Medhavani Mataji, are you available now, Mataji, till this session?
Yeah. I'll be there.
Mataji, I'll make you host because my son is waiting for the laptop. I have to give him. He's getting late for the office, Mataji.
Okay.
I'll make you host.
Mataji, you make me the host, then I'll make Abhinav Gauranga Prabhu the co-host.
Sure, Mataji. Thank you.
Sorry
Thank you,
for giving you anxiety, Mataji. Forgive us. Dandavat pranams. Hari bol. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Over to you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mataji. My apologies that I just took a little longer to join. Basically, my laptop was giving some issues and some work was stuck in the office. So I was in the two.
Okay. Hare Krishna. We want to hear only the speaker. We don't want side talks. So for this, with this in mind, Hare Krishna, Krishna Murti Prabhu. You are reminding us of Krishna all the time, but now you are distracting us.
Sir, 1 second, Mataji. I am outside.
Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. To have some kind of peace in the class, I have muted all the participants. We will request Abhinav Gauranga Prabhu to start. In case anyone would like to read, contribute, say anything, ask any query, kindly raise your hand. I am at your service today to mute and unmute all the participants. Hare Krishna. Abhinav Gaurang Prabhu, you are the co-host. You can share the screen. So over to you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams to all the devotees. Thank you. Apologies for muting all of you all. There was a lot of chaos happening. But please do feel free to raise hands and participate in the session. Thank you very much. Dandavat pranams.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji. I hope all the participants are able to see my screen. And okay, thanks.
Yes, Prabhu. Very. The screen is also clear. Your voice is also clear. Haribol. Thank you.
Thank you. Hari. So we'll start as usual. Like before starting, I'd like to dedicate this session to our founder Acharya, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Whatever I'm going to speak, I'll be simply repeating what I have heard in the lectures of Srila Prabhupada, or what I have read in the books of Srila Prabhupada, and what I have learned from my Siksha Gurus. So before starting, let's do some Mangala Charan, and then we can start with the session. Those who know can please repeat after me on mute itself, and those who don't know, please try to listen to these mantras very nicely, because they are also very, very purifying. Listening is also very, very purifying. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gururo Shri Utapad Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prem Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namah Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langate Giri Yat Pipatam Hum Vande Shri Guru Deen Tarinam Paramanand Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Okay, so let's start the session today. So agenda for today is that I had to discuss the remaining 44 angas of bhakti and then summarize the whole chapter. But since this chapter is very small, I would just take the liberty of going through it all over it once again, and in the process we will also end up summarizing it. Okay, so our first slide: how to discharge devotional service. Now we have seen that when we first came to Krishna consciousness, so what did we learn? That we are not this body, we are spirit souls, and our eternal constitutional position is to serve Krishna, to render loving devotional service unto Krishna. Yes, that means the basic questions were: who am I, who is God, and what is my relationship with God? Right, and then when we came to know that our eternal constitutional position is to just render pure devotional service unto Krishna, then the question arises is how can we render the devotional services? Okay, what are the devotional services and how can we do that? How can we put them into practice? So this chapter number 6 actually deals with that, and Sri Rupa Goswami actually took some very important points from a very nice scripture known as Hari Bhakti Vilas. And this Hari Bhakti Vilas was written by none other than Srila Rupa Goswami's elder brother Sanatana Goswami. Yes. So this scripture basically mentions 64 items, okay, or which are a set of rules and regulations that a Vaishnava should follow, right? And in these particular rules and regulations, there are two things. One are the basic principles, and then second is the details. Okay, for example, and the details are actually, they can be, modified with time. Or say, for example, I'll just give you one example, like how what are the details and how sometimes they can be altered depending upon the time, place and circumstances. Okay, so one such example can be that one thing, the basic principle, which one such basic principle states that everyone should accept a spiritual master, everyone should take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, a guru, if they want to break this cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Correct? But there are so many spiritual masters, especially in ISKCON, like, there is the power does not rest with one particular personality in ISKCON as such, right? It's distributed. There is a GBC, and then there are two lines of authority basically at ISKCON, right? One is the spiritual line and one is the management line. And there are different spiritual masters also, right? So, like, for example, I can take an initiation from, say, one spiritual master, and I'm just interacting with another spiritual master, and I see that there is certain subtle difference between the opinion or the views of the two spiritual masters, right? So now my basic principle says that I have to serve my spiritual master and respect all the other spiritual masters equally, right? Give the same respect and honor to other spiritual masters as well. But when I see that, okay, there is a certain difference, a subtle difference between the opinion, then what should I do? So this thing comes in the details part, right? So Srila Rupa Goswami said that, okay, like, we need not go into details, like those are for very advanced devotees. Anyone, like beginners, like the neophytes like us, for us, even the basic principles are more than enough, right? So similarly, another example could be that when Srila Prabhupada took initiation from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, so at that time the rule was that every initiated devotee should chant 64 rounds, correct? But when Srila Prabhupada went to the US, and then when he saw that, okay, I mean, these people are so fallen that they were hippies, people, with the counterculture and everything. So he immediately understood that, okay, 64 rounds chanting for these guys, it's just not possible, right? The kind of situation they are in right now, even if they chant just 16 rounds, it's more than enough, right, for them. So this thing is under details now, right? That, okay, basic principle was to chant the Harinam, right? But how many rounds one should chant, under what time, place, and circumstances one should chant, these comes under details, okay? So we are not going to touch upon the details because that is something for very high level Vaishnavas. We all are sadhakas, as I said earlier, right? And we all are neophytes. So as Srila Rupa Goswami suggests, that we will just stick to the basic principles and we'll try to implement those basic principles in our day-to-day lives, okay? So moving on. So first 10 preliminary necessities, okay, and these are very, very important ones because these are first 10, or first 10 rather first 20, which we will see are very, very important ones, and they should not be neglected if we want to take up spirituality seriously in our lives, okay? I would repeat again that we should not neglect any of these 20 items, preliminary items, if we want to take spirituality very seriously in our lives, okay? So first 5, let's see. Accepting the shelter of a spiritual master. Then second, getting initiated by the spiritual master and learning how to discharge devotional service from him. Obeying the instructions of spiritual master with faith and devotion. Following the footsteps of great acharyas and under direction of the spiritual master. Inquiring from the spiritual master on how to progress in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so these are very, very important 5 points which are there. I will also show the reference very soon. So one thing to note here is the point number 4, following the footsteps of acharyas under the direction of spiritual master. At no point in time, whenever we are practicing spirituality, right, we should never ever consider ourselves too advanced not to seek guidance from any spiritual master or any senior devotee, right? Because we will not be able to traverse this path of spirituality all by ourselves. And the example is none other than Bharat Maharaj, right? He actually elevated himself to the platform of Bhava, right? And after that, it was just Krishna Prem. Just one level was left above that. But still from that position, he actually fell down and had to take 2 more births. In fact, in one birth, he had to come back as a deer because while quitting his body as Bharat Maharaj, he was meditating upon the deer, which actually, he had become very fond of a particular deer, right? And he was thinking about that, at the time of death, and then he had to take this body. But due to mercy of Lord, he actually remembered, he actually retained all the memories of his previous birth, even in the body of a deer. And then, slowly he had to take one another birth as a human, and where he was known as the Jad Bharat. right? And then he went back home, back to Godhead, right? So it's very, very important that we should take the guidance, we should take the shelter of some initiated devotee, some spiritual master or some senior acharyas, and then only we should proceed on this path of spirituality. Alone, it's not possible. And that is the reason why we lay so much stress on devotee association. Yes. So now moving on, why these 5 points are very, very important. Where do we get the reference of these 5 points? Okay. So we get reference in the Bhagavad Gita as usual, chapter number 5, verse number 34. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya updekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. So what Krishna says, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth, right? And most important point to note that Krishna himself accepted the spiritual master when he was present, okay, just to set a proper example. And not just Krishna, in whatever incarnation he appears. Like, for example, when he appeared as Lord Ramchandra, he accepted the spiritual master. When he came as Krishna himself, he accepted a spiritual master. When he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he accepted a spiritual master. Because he wanted to set an example that this is the way, right? But unfortunately, in today's fallen age of Kali Yuga, we have just forgotten all these principles and rules and regulations. Yes. And you just see like what we are doing here. Just enjoy. Yes. So whatever, like, theek hai, scriptures jaye bhaan mein. We don't care what is written in the scriptures. We don't care what is written in the Bhagavad Gita. I will just enjoy here, right? To my heart's content. So, and by doing that, unknowingly, we all are on a grand highway to hell, right? So please take these things very, very seriously. Okay. And this is a very, very important point that Krishna says, that one should always accept a spiritual master. The reason why, I mean, if you go to the purports in the Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada has, explained very beautifully. Yes. And he says what? He says that if a person, say, for example, if a person is tied by ropes on a chair, there is no way that he or she can free themselves, by their own efforts. Only a person who is free of any material bondage can come and untie the ropes of that person and then, free them. Yes. So similar is the case with spirituality also. All these spiritual masters that you see, basically, they are all, like liberated souls. They are no more, entangled in this material bondage, in this material world. So only they can free us of this entanglement, right? Or another example can be that if someone is, say, suppose they just happen to fall down in a sea. Now, no matter how good a swimmer they are, they will not be able to, make it to the shore of the sea, because sea or an ocean is just too vast for them. Yes. But just imagine if someone comes and, on a helicopter and just airlifts them, then they are saved, right? So this spiritual master is like that, a person who is airlifting us, basically. We are in this ocean of nescience and, they are just coming here and then airlifting us, right? So it's very, very important that we take the shelter of a spiritual master. So moving on, the next 10, from 6 to 10, okay? Being prepared to give up everything material for the satisfaction of Krishna, residing in sacred places of pilgrimage like Vrindavan, Mathura, Dwarka, etc., accepting only what is necessary or dealing with material world only as far as necessary, observing fasting on Ekadashi, and worshipping sacred trees like banyan tree. So one very important point here, again, I will try to emphasize on that, accepting only what is necessary or dealing with material world only as far as necessary, right? Now, since we are in this material world, like, we cannot completely isolate ourselves, right? Especially in this age, where, we have to go out to work, we have to interact with so many people, right? There is no concept of, quitting the home and just going in a sanctified place in a forest and then, meditating for years, just like, people used to do in Satyuga, right? And on top of that, to add to our miseries, there is something called as social media. And then there is this guy over here. This makes our lives even better, isn't it? So we have to do some interaction. Okay. So interactions are necessary. So, but then up to what extent should we keep our interactions with the non-devotees? That is something which is very, very important to understand. And that is what we are going to see now. So we will refer to the Ishopanishad. Okay, Medhavani Mataji has raised her hand. Mataji, you can go ahead and ask a question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, I was just looking at your screen. I had a query. If you can go back to the previous screen.
Yes, Mataji, sure.
Okay, so in the 10 items of bhakti, which you very, very nicely put it down, I was just wondering, why does it not say Tulsi? Why does it say banyan tree?
So I have just copied it from the Nectar of Devotion, Mataji. So I think Tulsi is definitely there.
I'm just trying to understand the why of it. I mean, I'm not looking at the technical aspect of it, but because Tulsi worship is what is most important. Because we don't even know about the banyan tree. It's
Right.
I know it's mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion like that, but just wanted to know your thoughts.
Yeah, so in the Bhagavad Gita also, like, when Krishna in the 10th chapter, when he's saying, he's describing all of his opulences, that out of 11 Rudras, I am Shiva, out of all the Vasus, I am, fire, and all those things, like that. So in that chapter only, he says that of all the trees, I am the banyan tree. Okay, so that is the reason why banyan tree is also, very, very important. Of course, we all know the importance of Vrinda Devi, the Tulsi Devi, that she is basically, what to say?
Bhakti Pradayini. She is the one who gives bhakti.
Yeah, Bhakti Pradayini and keeper of the Vrindavan, right? Srimati Radharani has given her all the authority that, okay, you decide that who are the people who will be entering the Vrindavan, right? And just imagine the position of Tulsi Maharani, that Krishna's abode is known as Vrindavan, right? It could have been easily named as Radhavan or something like that, right? But just imagine her position that, the entire abode of Krishna is named after her. Right, because she is the one who takes care of all the pastimes that are happening between Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna. Yes, so of course Tulsi Maharani is there, but also in the Bhagavad Gita we find the reference that Krishna himself claims that, okay, out of all the trees I am the banyan tree. So from there, I think this has come up, right? So banyan tree is also equally important. We should worship.
Prabhu, one more thing is one more query is if you can go back one more slide.
Yep.
No, one more slide behind the first 5 items. Okay,
Yep.
So when we are seeing these 10 items, what we are seeing, first is getting shelter of a spiritual master, getting initiated, following, obeying the instructions. See, all these 10 are must to be done. One cannot not do it. But the 10th one, worship of banyan tree, we don't never do it. We don't do it as a part of our regular sadhana. So when it is said as the 10 preliminary necessities and we don't do it, what is how do we understand that perspective?
No, so actually I'll come to that later. Like out of these 10, there are 3 must-dos. Actually, I'll cover that, in the following slides. So please bear with me for some time. We'll see. And in those 3 items, that banyan tree is not mentioned as of now, right? So Tulsi Aarti we should do. We should never skip Tulsi Aarti. Like it's a part of our sadhana, especially people who are having altar at home, who have set up altar at home. They have to, do that Tulsi Aarti, right? And worship Tulsi Maharani. So yes, just bear with me, Mataji. I'll just come to that. Okay.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Okay, trees like banyan tree. So banyan tree, basically, as I said, that it has been mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. I will try to, find the reference also where Krishna has said that. I think it's in the 10th chapter itself. So we can find it there also. That out of all the trees, I am the banyan tree. So okay, moving on to Ishopanishad. So we were discussing point number 8. Accepting only what is necessary and dealing with material world only as far as necessary. So this verse of Ishopanishad is very nice, one of my favorite verses in all the scriptures, which is known as the Ishavasya principle, right? And it goes as follows: Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita ma gridha kasya svidhanam. And the translation is everything animate or inanimate everything animate or inanimate within this universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as the quota, and should not accept any other things, knowing well to whom they belong. Yes. So this is a clear-cut direction which is given in our scriptures in the Ishopanishad, that what we should do, right? That we should be satisfied with what we have, right? Which is being set aside as our quota. But the problem today is that we have no knowledge of what our quota is, And second, like even if some people have that knowledge, we are just trying to encroach on others' properties, others' quota as well, right? We are just not satisfied with what we have. So it's very, very important that we be satisfied with what we have, because ultimately we will see later on that there are 6 things which will actually destroy our bhakti, and accumulating more than necessary is one such activity which actually destroys our bhakti. So as devotees, we should always remain humble. We should always be satisfied that, okay, if it's Krishna's will, he has provided me, then okay, I'll use each and everything in his service, keeping him in the center. And then, whatever is necessary for me, I'll take that. Others, I'll just simply reject. Okay, and it goes for everything, not just for money or any, material property, but for each and everything. A very simple example is that this mobile phone, right? Now, people are actually, wasting so much of time. Their time is precious. This human body, human life is precious. Each and every single minute, each and every single second is precious, right? But we are simply wasting it, right? Just by scrolling the social media. What is the ultimate benefit that we are getting out of it? Simply nothing, right? But so this is what Ishavasya principle means, that you should be satisfied with what you have and just use the mobile phone in the service of Krishna. There are ways we can use that, right? Rather than wasting your time on that. So this is what we should understand. Okay, so moving on. So we have seen the 10 sets. Now we'll see the next 10. And then finally, out of those 20, what are the most important ones? We will see. Okay. So first is rigidly give up company of non-devotees. Okay. Do not instruct people who are not interested in performing devotional service. And I think this is one of the 10 offenses against the holy name we all have learned, right? That instructing people who are not interested in performing devotional service is an offense against the holy name, right? We should try to avoid that. One should not be very enthusiastic about constructing costly temples and monasteries. We will just discuss this aspect also, because some people may ask that if this is the case, then why Srila Prabhupada went around, constructing temples? Why ISKCON is doing that? Yes. So we'll just see that. Okay. And one should not read too many books or develop an idea of, earning their livelihood by giving lectures or reciting Vedic scriptures. Okay. So we should absolutely avoid doing that. And then one should not be neglectful in their just a second. In their daily dealings, ordinary dealings. Okay, one should not be neglectful in their ordinary. We will see all these things. What are they? So, as I said, that once devotional service is destroyed by bad association and accumulating more than necessary. Yes. So very nice verse. Another one of my favorites. We see in the Nectar of Instruction. Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha jansangascha lolyam cha shadbhir bhaktir vinashyati. So at a lot of times, we feel that as devotees that my sadhana is not, going very well. Sometimes when we chant, we, end up very frustrated. Yaar, aaj bilkul achhe se jaap nahi hua. We are very, very frustrated. Or sometimes, it happens for days together. Okay. So in those circumstances, just try meditating on this particular verse of Nectar of Instruction. Okay. You all can take a screenshot, or obviously this is also live stream, so you can watch this video again. But this particular verse is very, very important. Just meditate on this verse and just try to see that out of these 6, what is it that I am doing? And I'm pretty sure you will come to a conclusion that there is one or more than one of these 6 activities which we are doing, and that is the reason why our devotion is not, going in a way we want it to do, where we want it to go. Yes. So these are very, very important. So let's see the translation. One's devotional service is spoiled when one becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities: eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required. This is nothing but the Ishavasya principle, right? That everything animate or inanimate belongs to the Lord. We should take only as much which is set aside as our quota, and we should not accept any other thing, knowing well to whom they belong. Yes, so this is the point number 1. Second, over-endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. Okay, so for example, I'm a software engineer, but if I think that, okay, I want a Ferrari, and I'm toiling day in and day out, like that, just to get a car for myself. Okay, so that is again not suggested in the Vedic scriptures. It's not good. It's going to, destroy my devotional service, because most of the times I will be thinking about that car itself, right? So where is the time for devotional service after that? Yes. So third, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matter, that is gossiping, or some mundane news which is going on around. So, and this is what most of the people do. So in today's world, like if 2 or 3 people, they just get together, they just, chit chat and just gossip. That's it, right? So this is again not allowed. It's going to degrade your devotional service. And that is the reason why all the acharyas tell us that after you attain a certain level of bhakti or certain level of devotion, you should try to, stay alone in solitude, right? Just mix with only with the devotees, get the devotee association, sadhu sangha, and that's it, right? Do not, mingle with material-minded people, and that is what it will come later, right? Then practicing the rules and regulations of scriptures only for the sake of following them, or not for the sake of spiritual advancement, or rejecting the rules and regulations for the scriptures and working independently, whimsically, right? So, and most of the people you see, this is what they are doing. That okay, currently this nakshatra is going on and my Sadesati is going on, so let me do this puja and I'll get rid of this, all the bad effects of the Sadesati which is going on. Yes. So see, this is not spirituality. Let me tell you, this is not spirituality. You are just kind of adjusting your life and your situations in one way to make it a little more comfortable for yourself. But where are we discussing about the spirit souls in such kind of worshipping and such kind of pujas, right? So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhumi Rapo Analo Vayu, Kha Mano Buddhi Ravacha, Ahankara Iti Yamme Bhinna Prakriti Rashtadha. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. These are my separated 8 material energies. So when we are talking about doing a puja, which brings about sukh and shanti at our home, or for some material prosperity or material benefits, where it's all material, right? It is part of these 8 or 9 things that Krishna has mentioned, right? Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Spirit soul is, spirituality is beyond these 8 actually. So where are we talking about spirituality? Yes. So we should not be worshipping, or we should not be, following the Vedic rules and regulations just for the sake of following them, and completely ignoring the spiritual advancement aspect of that, right? Then that is not the right way, and obviously it will destroy our bhakti. Then 5, which is very important, that we saw just now, associating with worldly minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. Okay, and then finally being greedy for mundane achievements. So associating with mundane people or worldly minded people, see what it does is basically it simply wastes your time. As I said, that your life is very, very precious. This human life is very, very rare, and due to very pious activities which we have performed in our past lives, we have got this human body. And the only aim of this human body is self-realization, to break this cycle of life, death, and rebirth, go back home, back to Krishna. That is it, right? Any other thing that you see all around, family, marriage, going to office, earning some money, these are all secondary. It may sound a little difficult, or it may sound that okay, it's not possible for us to lead that life, but we'll come to know that how can we lead a nice peaceful life along with these activities, and still we can get rid of life, death, and rebirth, right? So it's very, very important, because worldly minded people, what will happen, as I said, when once 2 or 3 people get together, they'll simply gossip. And in gossiping, what happened? Only your time was wasted. We watch some stupid movie, that these days, the very nice movies are coming, right? In terms of stupidity, right? We just go there, we watch it. What happened? For 3 hours, we simply wasted our time. And not to mention that anything, that is shown in such movies, any violence which is shown, or any vulgar scenes which are shown, what happens? It not just spoils your consciousness, but it also creates what is known as samskara in your mind. And these samskaras are nothing but a kind of impression on your mind, which incites you, or which triggers that desire to perform the same activity over and over again. So basically, it's actually leading you to sin. Or even if they are showing something good, basically that good thing is not going to take you out of this material existence. Okay. So we are simply wasting our time. Movies, cricket, whatever. Like, still when I go to office today, people are discussing about, why India lost in the World Cup final. They are doing all the entire analysis, as if they are the cricket experts, and this went bad and that guy didn't play up to the expectation and all those things. Right? So it's only wasting your time, basically. And human life is very, very rare. So why do you want to waste your time? Why do you want to waste your life? Srila Prabhupada said that don't even wait for the next lifetime, because you don't know whether you will get a human body or not. Finish your business in this lifetime, go back home, back to Krishna, perform devotional service nicely, eat tasty prasadam, go in temple, dance nicely in front of the deities, sing nice kirtan, finish it off and go back home, back to Krishna. Yes? So this is very, very important again. Second, one must be attentive in one's dealings. So here again, like in the Bhagavad Gita, 17th chapter, 22nd verse, we see Adeshakale yaddanam patrebhyascha diyate asakritam avagyatam tattama samudahritam. And the charity performed at an impure place at an improper time to unworthy persons without proper attention and respect is said to be in the mode of ignorance. That means, what to speak of charity, even small things that we do in our day-to-day lives, if we are doing it in a very careless way without thinking, and we have seen these days, especially the kids, if you see these days, what happens is that they throw a lot of tantrums while eating, and I have seen this with my own eyes, right? They throw a lot of tantrums while eating. So what parents do is simply they put a mobile phone or tablet in front of them, and they just play their favorite cartoons or something on that that device, and then one parent or one attendant of that kid is just simply trying to feed him or her, and that kid is not even aware of what's going in their mouth. They're simply constantly watching the cartoon, and then just mechanically they are eating. This is not how you do things, right? I mean, you have to pay proper attention. You have to do everything very consciously in the sense that you have to keep Krishna in the center, right? And especially for devotees, right? Because we actually honor prasadam. We do not just eat food, right? So when you are honoring prasadam, that is also a service that you are doing to Krishna. Yes. So we have to be very, very important, very, very conscious in our, every small activities that we do. So we have to do it with proper attention, thinking that, okay, by doing this, I am actually serving Krishna. So by keeping Krishna in the center, we will see that, we'll be able to break this cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Right? So this is very important. One must be very attentive in one's dealings. Okay, so next we'll continue. What are the other? One should not lament too much in loss or to be too jubilant in gain. Okay, we have to be level-headed. It's not easy, but we can definitely practice, to be like that. And with practice, it will happen, surely. Okay. Why? Because Krishna has suggested that, and we'll come to that. Okay. One should not disrespect the demigods. A lot of times, in our ISKCON also, we have seen that, we pay a lot of stress on, Krishna. And, we have also shown that, okay, demigod worship is actually condemned by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Yes. But that doesn't mean that we should be disrespecting the demigods. And it's very important to understand that who these demigods are, right? Lord Ganesha is Lord Ganesha because he's also Jivatma like us, but he's at that position because the pious credits, the punya karmas that he has performed is way, way, way ahead than what we have done. That is the reason he has got that position of Ganesha, and we are here and born as a fallen conditioned souls in Kali Yuga. Yes, so we should not ever even think of disrespecting them, right? Just imagine what will happen if the Vayu Dev or the Pavan Dev doesn't give us the air to breathe. The air is always right beneath our nose. We can just breathe, and we are alive because of that. Don't you think we should be thankful to him for that? Just imagine if there are no rainfalls, right? What happens? There is a famine, and there is so much of loss of life and property and whatnot, right? So don't you think we should be thankful to Indra for that? So we should never be disrespectful for demigods. They all are worshipable, but we will love only Krishna. Okay, that is the thing, and we should follow this rigidly. Okay, if we need something, we'll go to Krishna. If we want something material, we'll go to Krishna. If we want spiritual advancement, we'll go to Krishna. Okay, but we should not disrespect the demigods at the same time, because we should be aware of their position, who they actually are, and so much help they are giving to us. Yes, so we should not be disrespecting them. Then one should not give unnecessary trouble to any living entity. One should carefully avoid various offenses towards holy name while chanting. So there are 10 offenses, and we should all know those 10 offenses. Right? And we should be very intolerant towards blasphemy of Krishna and his devotees. Okay, so this is also a very important aspect. We will just see in quick time. So first thing, we should not lament too much in loss or be too jubilant in gain. Okay, so again, Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 12, shloka number 13 and 14, it gives us the reference. Okay, Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitra taruna evacha nirmamo nirahankara samadukha sukha kshami santushta satatam yogi yatatma drina nishchaya maya arpit mano buddhir yomad bhakta same priyaha. One who is not envious but is kind, friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, right? That one who is level-headed, who is tolerant, who is always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me, right? So these are the qualifications which Krishna gives if you want to be in his good books, if you want to be his dearest devotee, right? So equal in both happiness and distress. So a question may arise that why, like how can we be level-headed? If something happens in our life which is not very conducive or which is not very happy for us, then we immediately get bewildered. Right. For example, if we lose a near and dear one, or if someone is not very well in our family, if someone is very sick in our family, obviously we are not very, mentally very balanced at that time. We immediately get bewildered, right? Similarly, if we are very, very happy, then also, we just try to over celebrate things, and it's a nature of human these days, especially, right? So how can we control the mind? How can we, become level-headed? That, and Arjuna says in the Bhagavad Gita, and when he was talking to Krishna, I said that, oh Krishna, it's easier for me to control the direction of wind, but it's not very easy for me to control the mind, basically. So if just imagine if a devotee like Arjuna is saying such strong words, then where do we stand? But the answer which Krishna gives to this question is that he says, asanshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. That means, oh Arjuna, there is no doubt that it's very, very difficult to control this obstinate mind, okay, which is jumping around like in all possible directions, okay. But abhyasena tu kaunteya, with practice and vairagyena, by detachment, this can be done. So no matter how many times our mind runs around when we are chanting or when we are performing devotional service, we should never ever be disheartened, okay, because in the Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna has said that out of all the senses, he is the mind, basically. Just like he said that out of trees, he is the banyan tree. Out of all the luminous bodies, he is the sun. Out of 11 Rudras, he is Shiva, right? So similarly, he says that out of all the senses, he is the mind. So mind is nothing but a Vishnu Tattva, actually, which is there inside our body. It's material manifestation. So how can we control Krishna? How can we control the Vishnu Tattva, right? So just by practice, Krishna is giving that solution himself, that, okay, just by practice, you keep doing that without getting disheartened. And one day you will be able to do that by the mercy of Krishna. And those who have read the Bhagavad Gita very nicely, especially the 13th chapter, they will understand that we are not the ones who are doing anything, right? Spirit soul is just, it simply desires. It can only desire. Whatever we are doing, any action that we are performing, any action or actions that we are performing, it is simply being carried out by the material nature, right? The three modes of material nature. So, if we are situated on that platform, then well and good. But even if we are not at that platform, we should understand that by practice and by detachment, we'll surely, slowly but surely we'll get to that platform. Yes. Okay. So moving on. Be humble, but do not tolerate blasphemy of Krishna and his devotees. Yes. So in the Sikshashtakam, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has very nicely said that, Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manaden Kirtaniya Sadahari. That means one should chant the holy name of Lord Krishna in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the blade of grass, and one should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name constantly. Right? So we have to be humble and very polite towards others. So to an extent that even if someone chastises us, even if someone actually makes some bad remarks on us, or tries to dishonor us, right, we will be very, very tolerant. We will be as tolerant as a tree. But if someone tries to chastise Krishna, if someone blasphemes Krishna or his devotees, then we should not tolerate that at all. Right? So, see, anger is something which is of inherent quality, not just in humans, but in all the animals, all the living entities. Yes. So, anger in itself, when it is being used according to your own whims and fantasies, then it's very, very dangerous. It's actually in the mode of ignorance. Yes. But if we try to utilize the same anger in the service of Krishna, then it becomes purifying. And the biggest example is Lord Hanuman, as you can see in this picture, right? When he saw Mother Sita in a pitiful state in the Ashok Vatika, that she was actually surrounded by all the female demons of Ravana, and they were all, kind of not behaving very nicely with her, and she was actually, completely shattered, and in the separation of Lord Ram, she was constantly thinking about him. When he saw Mother Sita in such a pitiful state, he became so angry that he just set fire to the entire Lanka city, right? So that is how you can utilize your anger, you can channelize your anger in the service of Krishna, right? Another example is Arjun, right? When he was in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So initially he was not ready to fight. He was again in the body consciousness. He was, saying that, okay, how can I fight with my grandfather? How can I fight with my spiritual master and all those things, right? But when Krishna incited him that, no, you have to do this because you are a Kshatriya and you have to fight. This is your duty. If you win, then you will enjoy the eternal kingdom, not eternal kingdom, but a nice kingdom in this material world. But if you lose the battle, if you get killed in this battle, then you will attain a very high destination, the higher planetary systems. So after all these things, when Krishna told him, then actually he became angry actually, and then he started. He fought with all the opponents, and he ultimately came up victorious, right? Because this is how you channelize your anger in the service of Krishna. Right? Similarly, if you see any devotees being chastised, or if any devotee is being blasphemed by any people, you should not be quiet at that point of time. Yeah, one thing is that you should always understand that in what situation you are, right? So you have to think smartly also, right? If it's in your capability to oppose, then definitely don't hold yourself back. You have the full right to oppose. But at the same time, if you are outnumbered, or if you see that someone who is doing this is a very a senior person, or maybe a senior family member of yours, where you cannot misbehave with him or her, you just leave that place. Okay, don't be in that place, don't be in that association. Okay, so this is how you can channelize your anger in the service of Krishna. So moving on, so coming to the answer of Midhavni Mataji, that out of the 20, first 3 are most important, right? So accepting the shelter of a spiritual master, getting initiated by a spiritual master, and learning how to discharge devotional service from him, obeying the instructions of a spiritual master with faith and devotion, right? And without following these 20 instructions, one cannot elevate oneself to the platform of devotional service in practice or sadhana bhakti. We have to keep this thing in mind. But these 3 are very, very important. And you know what? In the previous times, like not previous times also, you just, go maybe in 1960s, 70s, 50s, 60s, 70s, it's not very far away, right? Those time. go back to those times, and you can see that people actually accepted the spiritual master. There was a concept, and even today, like if you especially go to Navadvip, right, where Lord Chaitanya was born, people are still having this thing that at least the male members, they accept the spiritual master and they follow spirituality very nicely, and females, they support fully their husbands basically in the path of spirituality. Right, so in that way, they are just making significant advancements in spirituality, and ultimately they will definitely break the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Right. So this is how it should be done. Spiritual master, accepting a spiritual master is very, very important thing, and we should all take it very, very seriously. Right, it's not a joke. We have to be first, purified. So it's my humble request that all of you take Siksha very nicely. Okay. Take the Srila Prabhupada Ashraya, start chanting 16 rounds. Once you are stable in that position, then go ahead and get initiated. Okay, don't wait. Just understand the urgency. Right? That this human life is very rare. At the same time, the urgency is that we don't know when we are going to quit our bodies. Right? So, and without taking accepting a spiritual master, it's very, very difficult for us to break this cycle on our own. As I said, that it's not possible for a person who is tied down by ropes to free themselves, by their own efforts. Only a person who is not tied down can come and, untie those ropes, basically. So it's very, very important. Okay, so now we come to the next 44 items. I have not listed out all the 44. The ones which are very, very important, I thought that, those are important, so I should discuss. And the remaining, you can just go through it in the Nectar of Devotion, chapter 6. Okay, it's not a very big chapter, just 2 or 3 pages, so it should hardly take you maybe 10 minutes, to go through that. But yeah, read. I mean, it's not just do the reading just for the sake of reading. Okay, try to understand. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Okay, I will be more than happy to help. One should decorate their body with tilaka. So there are 12 places in our body where we apply the tilaka. So we should do that. And each, in the 12 body parts, each is accompanied by a mantra also, right? So people who are interested can, just try to search for it. There are 12 mantras that have to be chanted while applying the tilaka. One should accept flower garlands that have been offered to the deities or the spiritual master. So very often, especially, when you have attended any live satsang, in any ISKCON temple or any ISKCON center, you must have seen, that the speaker is basically sitting on the Vyasasana, and then someone comes and, offers the garland which has been offered to Krishna and puts it around their neck. And then, that person takes the smell of that flower and offers the obeisances to, that garland. So this is the Vaishnava etiquette. This is the Vaishnava culture that we follow in ISKCON. So one should accept flower garlands and which have been offered to the deities and the spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada also often used to do that. And I was just going through, one of the videos where one of his very close associates, Srila Prabhupada's very close associate, his personal assistant, His Grace Shrutakirti Prabhu, right? He was actually remembering Prabhupada, and he said that, when he used to travel all around the world in the aeroplane, so just before the touchdown, when the pilot announces that, we are going to land very soon. So he used to get all his belongings from the cabin, which is above, that storage part, which is above, right? And there were so many garlands, flower garlands, people used to put around his neck, when he was traveling. So what Prabhupada used to do, he used to take two or three of them for himself, and then he used to distribute it to all the other disciples. And all the other disciples who were accompanying Prabhupada during that journey, they were very, very eager that, okay, when this plane will land, and then I'll get one flower garland from Prabhupada, right? So this is the importance, right? So this is how they used to treat that. So it's also very, very important to accept the flower garlands which has been offered to a deity or spiritual master. One should bow down immediately upon seeing a deity or a spiritual master. Yes, obviously, we always offer our obeisances, especially, if possible, offer a Dandvat pranams, full Dandvat. If the place is not there, then just half Dandvat should also be fine, but at least offer your obeisances. Okay. When a deity is being borne for a stroll on a street, devotee must immediately join the procession. So even so in Mayapur or Navdeep, even today, there is a culture that the temple has a huge deity, like big deities. But along with that big deities, there are also small deities. We must have seen that, especially during Janmashtami, the Abhisheka that we perform on that deities, they are generally made of brass, right? And they are small deities basically. So what they do in Mayapur and Navdeep is that they take every evening, they take it out and they take it on a palanquin or some nice decorated seat, and they just stroll in the nearby areas of the town, right? So as a devotees, we should immediately just leave all your duties, whatever you are doing at that time, and join the procession. That is what is recommended. So this is what it says. So these are all devotional services, and once you're practicing all these things, slowly but surely all your sinful activities and your pious activities, they are getting nullified, right? So you're getting actually rid of all the actions, good and bad, and then you will be situated in the platform of akarma. And then while quitting your body, you will have no baggage. You will simply go back home, back to Krishna. You will be eligible to enter into the spiritual world. Okay, so please take all these activities very, very seriously. So one must visit Krishna or Vishnu temple at least once or twice every day. And this is a culture still in Vrindavan. If you go to Vrindavan, I think most of the people have visited there. So you must have seen that during the morning times and the evening times, especially, the temples are very, very crowded. Even the Juhu ISKCON, right? It's very crowded during the evenings, right? So we all should make very, conscious effort that, at least once every day we should try to visit a temple, or if it's not possible for us to visit a temple, set up an altar at home, okay, and offer your services to that altar, because that altar is also as good as a temple only. Yes, so please do that. One must circumambulate the temple building at least 3 times. Yes, again, like when I was at Krishna Balram temple, I saw, that I was visiting all the different temples in Vrindavan, and this is again a culture in Vrindavan, which we should all follow. We should try to circumambulate. Yeah? One must sing. Yes, don't just sit there and, enjoy, right? Participate in that kirtan, in Sankirtan. This is what Lord Chaitanya taught us. This is what Lord Chaitanya wants us to do, right? So sing very nicely. And one must perform Sankirtan. Yeah. One must chant. Yes, chanting is very, very important. I mean, anything happens in our family, we should be just, ignorant of that. Anyone dies in our family, anyone is born in our family, something good is happening, something bad is happening, our chanting should not stop at any cost, right? We have to make it a point. As long as I'm capable of chanting, as long as I'm not on my deathbed, where I'm completely incapacitated, till then I should chant, right? We have seen that Srila Prabhupada was chanting even in his deathbed. In his deathbed, he was actually translating Srimad Bhagavatam, on the dictaphone. So yes, we cannot elevate ourselves to his level, but definitely, chanting is something that we can do every day, right? One must taste Mahaprasad. Obviously, we should always honor prasadam. Anything other than prasadam, we should try not to take, not to consume, right? And one must see the deity with great devotion. Yes, like be very attentive while taking the darshan, because taking a darshan is also Krishna's mercy. Everyone cannot just go to a Krishna temple and take the darshan, right? Only when it's like Krishna's special mercy on you, when he desires that, okay, let me bring this person to me, then only you get an opportunity to visit a Krishna temple and take the darshan of Sri Krishna. So taking darshan is also a process in itself. How can you do that? It's always recommended that once you are there standing in front of the deity, start with the lotus feet, okay, and be very, very observant, right? That what are the flowers that have been offered to the feet of the deity? What is the color of the nails of Krishna? What is the kind of anklet or nupur which he is wearing, right? Then slowly move up to the legs, thighs, and then to the waistline. Just observe the kind of dhoti Krishna is wearing, right? And then to the upper body, and then finally come to the face, right? And also when you are observing the face of Krishna, pay a lot of attention to the eyes, okay? Always look into the eyes of the deity. Right? That is the reason why that, in the previous yugas, especially in Dwapar Yuga, when the deity worship was the Yug Dharma, they used to make enormous statues, right, of stone or wood or anything, right? And they used to have very big eyes, right? Because it is said that through that eyes only the deity actually showers the mercy. right? Through the eyes, the deities shower the mercy and they take away all your sinful reactions. So you should be very, very observant. It's not that you should be, theek hai yaar, mandir aa gaya, bas, in a very negligent way, you are just, observing all the, beauty and cleanliness of the temple, but you are not paying any attention to the deity. You are, people are just watching a beautiful girl standing in beside them, and they are not paying any attention to the deity. Watching a very handsome man standing in front of the deity, but they are not watching the deity, right? So these things, they happen in the movies, but please don't bring those movies aspect in your life. Okay, in real life, our scriptures are very clear that what we should do and what we should avoid. Right? So be very, very observant, be very, very attentive when you are taking the darshan, because it's a serious thing. It's a serious matter. So, yes. Second, again, most important items are, one must offer aarti, especially those who are at home, who have set up an altar at home. Please, you have to perform Mangal Aarti twice, which is in line with the timings of ISKCON, right? Or whatever is convenient for you. If it is possible that you can follow the ISKCON temple timings, it's very good. But if not, then just see. But please do that. Srila Prabhupada's father, he was a first-class Vaishnava, right? Shri Gaur Mohan De. And he was a Grihastha, and he had his own shop, actually. He had to run a shop. And then when he came back from his shop, late night at 10:30 in the evening, in the night time, right? At that time, he used to come and offer the evening aarti, but he never skipped the evening aarti, right? So we cannot be like Srila Prabhupada, but trust me, each and every single one of us can be like his father, that kind of a Vaishnava, that we can inculcate nice Vaishnava etiquettes in our own children, and we can also, lead by the example, right? So unless we do it ourselves, our kids will never learn. Okay, so please make it a practice. One must hear Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Obviously, right? I mean, Bhagavad Gita is the summum bonum of all Vedic scriptures. Okay, so please read it. One must pray to the deity for mercy. One should render some voluntary service. And in every condition, one must be a surrendered soul. Okay? Even if things are not going your way in your life, right? I mean, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita has told that this place is a dukhalayam ashashvatam. Okay, this place is a dukhalayam. I mean, you will never get happiness in this material world, right? And it's ever changing, right? And Krishna says, just like the summer and winter seasons, they come and go. Similarly, good times and bad times will come and go. Okay, but in every circumstance, we should be surrendered to Krishna. Even if things are not going our way, no need to worry, right? Because we don't belong here. We should understand that. Okay, as long as these things will be impacting us only as long as we are in the body consciousness. Okay, once we understand, we actually try to practice that. Okay, we are not this body, we are the spirit soul. Then whatever is happening around us will be immaterial. Someone loves us, someone hates us, someone honors us, someone dishonors us. These duality will be above these dualities, actually. Okay, so please, always be a surrendered soul, even in the tough times. One should water the tulsi plant. Yes, every day. Like, we should be doing that. If possible, try to circumambulate the tulsi plant also, because with every circumambulation, you are destroying your sins of millions and millions of lifetimes. Okay, so what to speak of people who are circumambulating it more than once and doing it every day in full consciousness of that. Yes, so always water the tulsi plant. Then one should live in sacred places like Mathura or Vrindavan, right? So picture that you see here is the Krishna Balram temple of Vrindavan, right? Very, very beautiful place. Those who have not gone to Vrindavan, I would seriously recommend that please be there at least once, because that place has a different vibration altogether. Okay. And chant there. It's very, very rare opportunity to go in Vrindavan and chant Hare Krishna. Yes. Then in the month of Kartik, one should offer special service. During Janmashtami, one should offer special service, right? And one should associate with devotees who are considered most advanced. Okay, and try to avoid the company of non-devotees, as well as those devotees who are not very serious in their sadhana, right? Because see, association actually matters. It actually makes you do what the other person is doing. right? So if you're associating with non-devotees and they're okay, it's fine, yeah, chalo, let's party, and what are you doing in all, getting into all these things, spirituality and everything. For 1 or 2 days, maybe you can resist that thing, but then after a week, be pretty sure that you will, forget about your devotional service and you will be leading a normal materialistic life again, right? And same is the case with the non-serious devotees. Okay, that if your sadhana is not good and you are discussing, even my sadhana is not very good, then what happens? You become lenient in your sadhana. And that leniency, what will happen? It will slowly increase over a period of time. And then ultimately a time will come when you will stop chanting altogether. Yes. So please don't be, you have to be very, very judicious in, choosing the company of the people and of the devotees as well. So always try to be in association with devotees who are considered most advanced and who are very serious and very pakka in their sadhana. Okay. And then one should chant the holy name of the Lord. Yes, of course. So out of these 45, what are the most important? So 5 of them are, these 44, the most important ones are worshipping the deity. Okay, so either you can go to a temple every day, maybe once or twice, or if you don't have time, set up an altar at home, perform the deity worship at home. It is as good as going to a temple itself. Yes, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. It's very, very important because Srimad Bhagavatam is considered as Krishna's literary incarnation. It is non-different from Krishna, right? When Krishna left this planet, and when Parikshit Maharaj left this planet, then the sages were very, very concerned that what will happen to the people of Kali Yuga, right? And at that time, all these doubts were dispelled that, okay, Krishna will appear as Srimad Bhagavatam, and he appeared. Vedas gave us Srimad Bhagavatam, and that is non-different from Krishna himself. So we should read Srimad Bhagavatam every day. Right? Nityam Bhagavatam Sevaya. Right? Then Sankirtan. That is what Lord Chaitanya wants us to do. Right? Get into a group of 4 or 5 devotees, just clap your hands and chant Hare Krishna. That's all is needed. Okay. So please do that. Or if you are visiting a temple or any ISKCON center, then obviously, it can be done in a much better way. Right? So, but Sankirtan is very, very important. Association of devotees. Again, like we have talked about it a lot. So we have to be associated. Sadhu Sangha is very, very important. Yes. Residing in holy dhams like Vrindavan, Mathura and Dwarka. So these 5 are very important out of these 44. I have not listed all these 44 in this particular PPT, but I would request all of you to please go through Nectar of Devotion very nicely and this 6th chapter. So, and if you have any questions, you can just come back to me. Okay. So summarization, let's come to the summary. Always remember what to remember. The 64 items of devotional service should include the activities of our body, mind, and speech. Okay. So it's not just, we are doing it mechanically, that if we are performing Aarti, we are doing it mechanically. If we are singing in Sankirtan, we are doing it mechanically. No, it's not like that. Okay, again, Medhavni Mataji has a question. So Mataji, you can please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, we are just running short of time, Prabhu. The Kannada class starts at 12:45. So
yeah,
maybe in
sure.
2-3 minutes, so you can quickly
just
summarize.
I'll wrap up. Okay. And then second, all our senses must be employed in the service of Krishna. And the best example is Amrish Maharaj. He was the one who actually employed. He used his eyes to see the deities of Krishna. He used his hands to clean the temples of Krishna. He used his legs to travel to the temples of Krishna. His mind was always absorbed in Krishna, and he was always chanting Krishna's name, right? So we have to be like this. And this is basically the summary and the conclusion, that just perform these 64 items. Just see like what is practical for you to do. But out of these 64, we have listed out 3 initially in the first 20, and then 5 in the next 44, right? So please try to follow at least 5 and 3, 8 of these, and then just see how, nicely will progress in Krishna consciousness, right? So with that, I would like to end today's discussion. I hope all of you liked it. As usual, again, I just yeah. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. You can get my contact from Medhavni Mataji, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Okay. Mataji, do we have any time for further discussions, or can we end this here?
No, Prabhu, we don't have a time. So I would
Yeah.
request devotees, whoever have any queries, you can post it in the group itself. And I will take it up with Prabhu, and then Prabhu can answer. Or Prabhuji will be joining us the week after next. Alternate weeks, Prabhuji will be taking the sessions. You can make note of the questions, and you can ask Prabhu in the next session.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. So we thank Prabhuji for the very, very wonderful session as always. Very beautiful summarization of the entire chapter 6. So I request devotees to kindly go through the chapter in detail in the words of Srila Prabhupada. And please join us on Monday. We have this weekend to revise until chapter number 6. We've completed until now. So Monday we will have a speaker who will take us through the 7th chapter of the Nectar of Devotion. So thank you very much. See this, we are only taking you through, it's an overview sessions only. So I would request devotees to kindly go through the chapter, because Prabhupada's words, the potency of Prabhupada's words in itself is the main source of inspiration for all of us. Yeah. So I would request everyone to kindly go through the textbook of Nectar of Devotion until chapter 6. If you have any questions, you can post it in the group. And I'll meet you all on Monday morning, 11:25 a.m. As we start with chapter number 7 of Nectar of Devotion. So thank you very much for joining in. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Grace Abhinav Prabhu ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Very wonderful session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Krishna.